Hey, what's going on, fellas? How you doing? Matt Antonelli here, answering your questions today. Today's question is on agents. How do you get one? What do they do for you? How does that whole relationship work? And so we'll spend a little bit of time today going back and talking about my experiences with agents and some of the experiences I've heard from other players with their agents, and hopefully give you guys a better picture of exactly how it works. Um, so let's start out with the agents that I had and kind of how I got them and, what do you do? What does an agent do and how do you interact with them? First agent I ever had was in high school. So I found out my senior year that there was a good chance I was going to get drafted. A lot of teams started calling me, started coming over and basically putting me through tests, interviewing me, watching me, bringing me out for workouts. And so I had a pretty good idea that I was going to get drafted. And, actually at that time, I didn't get a lot of calls from agents. I think I probably only got one or two calls from agents at that time. Ended up choosing, one of the two that called me. Um, and honestly, thinking back, I mean, there wasn't really much to think about. I was pretty sure I needed an agent. I didn't really know how the process worked, but I said, you know what? I always hear about guys having agents that get drafted and play Major League Baseball, so I'm going to get one. And so I had my agent. Um, Ended up getting drafted. Basically, what my agent did at that time is talk to me about, how the process works. And, for me as a high school player, you have a big decision. Do you want to go play professionally or do you want to go play in college? And basically, at the time the Dodgers drafted me, once I step foot in college and go to class the first day, I am no longer part of the Dodgers, and I'm going to have to re-enter the draft in 3 years. And so it's a big decision. Do you want to go pro ball or do you want to go to college and put it off for 3 years? And so, basically the agent is there to help negotiate what your signing bonus is and then help you kind of decide with your family, what do you want to do? Is it worth it? Do you want to go play pro ball? Is it enough money? Do you need more money? And so they're going to kind of help walk you through that. That's what they do as far as the draft process is concerned. Okay. So I ended up not going in. I ended up deciding to go to college. I told the Dodgers, we gave them a number that, if they'd given me for a signing bonus that I would have signed. They decided they didn't want to go that high. And so I went to college. And 3 years later, got drafted again. Here's the thing. I ended up switching agents during my college career. So what happened was, you go away to college and now you're not going to get drafted for another 3 years. And so the relationship with me and my agent when I was in high school, I didn't really talk to him a whole lot, right? And it's understandable from their point of view. I mean, I got 3 years to go. And so, they're not going to hold my hand and just call me every day, just say, hey, what's up, buddy? How you doing? Well, how are things going? How's college? Yeah, you got a girlfriend? Like, what's going on? They're not going to do that. And so after like a year or two, I played in the Cape Cod League my freshman year, after my freshman year of college, which is a really good summer league. And what happens is a lot of agents, because they know players that are playing in the Cape Cod League are good players and they're probably going to get drafted, or a lot of them have already been drafted out of high school, agents start going to those games and they start trying to basically recruit players. And so during my freshman year and then again my sophomore year, I ended up having a lot of agents come and talk to me, right? And so, I ended up getting to know a bunch of them. Some of them will take you out and, eat dinner with you and tell you all the great things there are about their company, right? Everyone's got a sales pitch for you. Some are, we've worked contracts for, $150 billion for big league players, and we've got A-Rod, and we've got Manny Ramirez and all that stuff. So you'll have some companies that are really, really big companies. Think about Scott Boras and his company, right? These huge companies that work with all these top players. You've got some companies that'll pitch you as more of a smaller company, right? We have this player and that player, but, we're a smaller company and we're going to be able to give you more individual attention and you're going to be able to get a hold of us and it's more like a family, right? So you have that type of sales job going on. And so there's a bunch of different things that you kind of weigh. And for me, what happened was I ended up switching companies and switching agents just because I didn't talk a whole lot with my agent from high school. I ended up meeting all these other agents and you start to develop friendships. And, I just decided to switch agents, okay? And so I created a really good relationship with, his name was Andrew Lowenthal, or is Andrew Lowenthal. Company was called Performance at the time. He's with a new company now. And, we just really clicked. And so they were a little bit of a smaller company. They had some really big major league guys that everybody had heard of, but they also weren't this huge company. And I think the thing that was interesting as far as my relationship with them is that Andrew would call me like once a week at least. And we'd always talk, whether it was baseball or whatever. And during the college season, he'd check in on me and see how things were going and, how I was playing. And he would tell me things that he was hearing from different scouts and, GMs and all this stuff, and keep me up to date with, where I was fitting on, early on it's tough to know where you're going to fit on the whole draft board and where they think you could potentially go. But that's pretty much what happens before you get drafted, right? And technically, they're not your agent until you sign. They're your advisor, because you're technically, I don't believe, supposed to have an agent in college, right? You have an advisor or whatever. And so, anyways, that's how it happens. They basically recruit you. And it's almost like you're in the recruiting process all over again, trying to get into a college to play baseball where the coaches are recruiting you. It's the same thing for agents. So once you get drafted, I get drafted again my junior year. And, now the agent's job is basically to help me out once again with the signing bonus, okay? And so they had assigned slot values at that time, so I kind of knew what my position in the draft was supposed to get, right? They give everyone a slot value. And, when I originally was starting to negotiate, the Padres came in and they offered me a little bit below slot value. Without getting credit, we could talk about the story for like hours and hours and hours. They offered a little bit below slot value. Our agent came back above slot value. They go back and forth for a while, and we ended up signing for exactly slot value, okay? So, they're handling a lot of the negotiations, as am I, and we're just trying to figure out, okay, what's the right number, right? And I think as a player, you just want to be paid basically fairly. That's all I said. Going into it, I probably had a good idea if I got slot value, I'm going to sign, right? I want to go play. I want to be paid fairly. Some players, depending on the position you're drafted or the team you're drafted by, or whether you're a high school guy or a college guy, some guys hold out for more money, right? I'm sure I could have held out longer and tried to get more money, but I said I want to go play. The faster I go play, the faster I'm going to start to develop and hopefully be able to move up quicker. Because, for me, the goal isn't just to get the biggest signing bonus. It's to get to the major leagues and hopefully have a long career. And so that was my goal. So anyways, that all gets negotiated. And now once you sign, boom, you sign, you go play. From there, what your agent does is, depending again on where you're drafted, he's able to get you different types of deals. So my agent worked with equipment companies. So he ended up signing me. I ended up signing with Nike. And so he got me a Nike contract where basically Nike gave me all my gear for free. So I get cleats and shirts and batting gloves and everything, basically. Anything Nike that I want, I get. You also negotiate with them. You get merchandise money. So I could go into a Nike store or go online to like their Nike.com, and I get merchandise money where I can just buy stuff and buy gear. And so all that stuff is negotiated through the agent. He sets that all up. There's also bat deals. You can sign with some bat companies. And so I had different opportunities to do that, which he does. The other thing an agent does is get you card deals. So I ended up having card deals, and we talked about this in another video with, I think like Bowman, and I don't know. I actually don't remember the exact card companies back then. I don't know if it was Topps or, who was even around. But they ended up negotiating a couple of card deals. And so, you get paid for signing a certain amount of autographs. And so they do that for you. Now, once you start playing, when you're in the minor leagues, after all that happens, there's not a whole lot else to do because you're not going to sign a contract for a long time, right? You're not going to be negotiating stuff. But your agent still stays in contact with you. And anytime I need something, I call my agent. That's how it works. You usually go to your agent. I need more gear or something. Call my agent. Hey, I need like another pair of cleats and some more batting gloves, whatever. Okay, and they put the order in for you. All right, so they help you with that stuff. Now, as far as negotiating other stuff, people a lot of times think about free agent deals, right? You become a free agent, and your agent's going to help negotiate that contract. Absolutely, that's part of their job. Arbitration, you've probably heard of arbitration. Depending after a certain amount of years in the major leagues, you may be eligible for arbitration. And so a lot of agents are going to kind of push that to you as far as like, listen, we've negotiated all these arbitration deals and we've won these arbitration deals. And so, that's why you should choose us. So that's another thing that goes kind of into the whole sales job of it, and what they're trying to push to you. I never was eligible for arbitration, didn't play in the major leagues for long enough, obviously never signed another big time multi-million-dollar contract. But the contracts I did sign as far as the minor league side of things, when I was non-tendered with the Padres, I became a free agent. And so now my agent's job is to kind of go find me another job. And so he's going to go talk to different teams and figure out the best spot for me to sign. And he had to do that multiple times. We did that when I signed with Washington. The next year, he got me a job with the Orioles in the 40-man roster. And so there was a lot of negotiating going on with that because I wasn't first offered a 40-man roster spot. There was a couple teams battling to kind of sign me, and we ended up negotiating a 40-man roster spot, which is a big deal. And so I got that with the Orioles. Ended up getting sent over to the Yankees, so I don't think we had to do a whole lot with that. After that year, I was a free agent again, and he got me signed over to the Indians. So he's the one that's really working all those times to kind of help me, get deals and get signed with teams, right? And for me, I kept signing these one-year deals, and so, he had a lot of work to do every single offseason. Let's see. What else is an agent going to do for you? Actually, here's one big thing for you. The interesting thing about agents is, for me, and I think one of the most important things that I talked about was anytime I needed him, I could pick up the phone and call and he's going to answer, right? Like I never couldn't get a hold of him. And he's calling me a lot, always checking in. I've heard stories of a lot of guys that call their agents and can't get a hold of them, right? Because they've got big, huge agencies, or maybe they've got a ton of these huge, big name guys, and they just can't get through. The guy doesn't call them back for a couple of weeks straight. I never had that issue. Now, I was a high pick, so maybe that helped out. Maybe if I was like a 42nd round pick, maybe it'd be tougher to get a hold of my agent. I don't know. But I'd heard stories about guys that were high picks that had tough times getting a hold of their agents. So, I think part of it is, yes, it's what can they do for you as far as arbitration and contracts and, the experience that they have and all that stuff. And also, but it's also very much on the human part of things and, what type of person are they? Do you get along with them? Can you contact them? If you need something, can you get a hold of them? There were other things. When I needed to get my car shipped. I needed to get my car shipped from home to California, from California to San Antonio when I got moved up, right? So you need your car to be transported. They do that stuff for you. So that's another thing they do. So there's all type of stuff that you need to get in contact with them for. And so it's important to have somebody that you trust. That's going to give you good advice and is going to be available to help you do that. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of insight into that's just some of the things that agents do. I know that we could probably go on and talk about stories forever because I played 8 years and there's a lot of stuff that's coming up over those 8 years that my agent is really helping me out with. So, but hopefully this gives you kind of an idea of some of the things they do and some of the important things to think about when you're choosing one. So let me know if you have any questions, put in the comment section below and I'll answer them for you guys. Subscribe to the channel if you've not done so already. Give us a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate that. Share the video with all your friends. Check out our Instagram, Antonelli Baseball, our Twitter feed, Antonelli9, where I'm posting videos all the time for you guys. Check out the description box below where I put a bunch of links to books I've been reading and also training tools that we use with our players. I think you guys will find those interesting. Check out our website, AntonelliBaseball.com. You can find out how to work with our teams, how to work with our coaches, how to be a part of our teams. And that's all I got for you guys. Thank you so much again for your question. I appreciate it. Good luck to you, and we'll talk to you later.